Hello everyone and welcome to today's video where today the Premier League is back this weekend. Thank God. Now, as much as I enjoy seeing England play and other international football going on and knowing that it has to take place for future competitions to work out the tables and everything like that, it's felt a bit weird, this international break. That it just felt like no one really wanted it as much. And given that you have fans back in Premier League stadiums, the Premier League is back in general, you're seeing all these different players moving to different clubs, you kind of want the Premier League to just keep going, like keep that momentum going. But the international break has just kind of broken things off slightly, and it feels like we need to restart for every single team again because of this international break that has just taken place. But either way, the Premier League is back this weekend and Man City will be taking on Leicester City. What a fantastic game to start off things for Man City after the international break. And given that we've only just played Leicester as well about a month ago in the Community Shield, and yeah, things didn't go as well for Man City. We didn't win the Community Shield, unfortunately, but it was still very much, it just felt like pre-season still, so I didn't really read into much from that game. Obviously it was a good result for Leicester given that they had the majority of their players back, and yeah, they seem to deserve to win the Community Shield in the end. However, things are a bit different now that the Premier League is back, and there will be more, I wouldn't say there's revenge for losing the Community Shield. Like, it just doesn't sound right. Like, if you lost the FA Cup or something like that, then there's a case that you do try and get revenge against them after the heartbreak of that. But for the Community Shield, it's kind of like, you can have it, but we still want to win against you next time round. We're looking at both teams. I think from a Man City perspective, I think after the slow start we've had and then winning 5-0 against Norwich and Arsenal, I mean, there's not much I could really ask for as a Man City fan at this moment in time. So going into the game, hopefully we've got all our players back from the international break and that there's no injuries whatsoever. And we can just build off that. And from a Leicester perspective, I've been keeping an eye on them closely, and a good start to the season when they won against Wolves, but then they got absolutely battered by West Ham 4-1, which I did not expect. However, the red card that Ayoze Perez got in that game did not help things in the slightest. So down to 10 men and then they get battered. It kind of made sense and why they were that bad on that day. And then against Norwich, even though they got the victory against Norwich, which a lot of teams will be expecting to get maximum points against Norwich, but in that game it felt like there was still some mistakes in the Leicester team, in particular in defence. I'd say I think I'm trying to pronounce his name, Soyuncu. I've seen a few defensive mistakes in him, and I know that he doesn't have Johnny Evans in the starting lineup and playing alongside him, which obviously they kind of partner each other very well. And I think at the moment he's having to play alongside Daniel Amati, I want to say it is. But from some of the games that I have seen, he has made a lot of errors. Well, not a lot of errors, but he's made some errors which are very concerning from a Leicester perspective. But from a Man City perspective, I think we can definitely exploit that with the team that we've got. So looking at Man City's perspective on things, it's a bit of a weird one because of everything that is going on, and which I'll talk about in a second, to do with the Brazilian players in our team. But also we've got Champions League football to think about now as well. So I don't know whether Guardiola is going to go into this game and make a load of changes, and in midweek he'll put like a starting lineup which you would have seen in the league anyways. But it's going to be a weird one. But with the amount of games that we've got coming up, especially in this month, like we need every single player to be on form, fit and raring to go, and just being prepared for the worst case scenario and just being ready in general in case someone messes up or gets injured and they've got to come in to try and take their place, essentially. But as I mentioned, our Brazilian players are not playing, or they've been blocked by FIFA because they weren't called up. Well, they were called up for the international break for Brazil, but Man City and Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United and Leeds, they were there like saying, well, if they go to Brazil, then they've got to quarantine for 2 weeks when they come back. So what is the point in sending our players? Like, no, we're not doing it. Like, Brazil is a red list country involving coronavirus. Like, why would you want to send your players out anyways? Like, they're the ones that are paying those players to play for the club. I'm sure that the Brazilian FA can just be like, oh, you know what? They've got a quarantine. We'll pick some other players. But nope. They've complained to FIFA, and now those clubs that I've mentioned and some of the Brazilian players that were supposed to be picked, yeah, they're banned for 5 days after the international break. So a message to the Brazilian FA: suck your mums, because you've ruined Man City's hopes of not necessarily winning, but you have well and truly f***ed us over this weekend given everything that's going on. So as I mentioned, the Brazilian players won't be playing for Man City this weekend because of the Brazilian FA, so cheers to them. That includes Ederson and Gabriel Jesus. Now, it would be fine if Ederson misses the game and Zach Steffen could come in, but he tested positive for coronavirus in midweek, or like when he went out on international duty. So he's got COVID-19 and recovering from that. So hopefully he gets well soon and we see him back training and even on the pitch as well. So that means the only goalkeeper that we pretty much have left is Scott Carson. Yeah, he could be playing this weekend. Well, he will be playing this weekend because our 2 goalkeepers are out right now. So, yes, Scott Carson will be playing, I'd assume. But other than that, with the goalkeeping situation and Gabriel Jesus not playing, it's a bit unfortunate for him because he has had some good form in recent weeks. But we've got plenty of players who up front will be fine. But other than that, I don't think there's really any other injury concerns that I'm aware of. I think Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden, they've been training at the Man City training ground this week to get their fitness back up. So whether they do make it back into the starting lineup or even on the bench, it remains to be seen. So going through my predictions for the team this weekend, in goal, it is the GOAT, that is Scott Carson. And then I would go with Kyle Walker, Diaz, Laporte and João Cancelo. I mean, that was essentially the back 4 from the last game, so why not play it in this weekend's game against Leicester? In midfield, I'm going to go with Fernandinho. I don't think he's played for a while, and I think with the games coming up, I think we need to rotate Rodri with Fernandinho. So Fernandinho to come back in this weekend. Further down in the midfield, in central midfield, I'm going to go with Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan. Now I know De Bruyne is coming back from injury and everything like that, but at least get some minutes under your belt, even if it's for the first half, an hour at most, and then you bring on like Bernardo Silva in midfield just to shore things up, and then Gundogan continuing on from his goal scoring from the Arsenal game, just put him in again. And then in the front 3, I'm going to go with Mahrez on the right, Ferran Torres to start as striker, and then I'll put Sterling in. I'll put Sterling into the team again. I think it's probably best that we save Jack Grealish for the game in midweek against RB Leipzig. So put Sterling back in. And for the score prediction, it's going to go one of two ways. I could see it being a 1-0 victory to Man City and we just protect Scott Carson at all costs with the defence. Like, if we get a goal, just make sure that Vardy doesn't get the ball and just stop all the Leicester players, park the bus if we need to, just so we can protect Scott Carson at all costs. And hopefully Diaz, Laporte, Walker and João Cancelo have the game of their life. Or our defence is going to go to absolute jelly and Scott Carson may concede a few goals. So we've got to score some to make up that deficit. And yeah, it will be 3-2 to Man City if that's the case. So a 1-0 victory, which will put me on edge, or a high-scoring game of 3-2 to Man City. But anyways, that is where I'm ending my preview for this weekend's game. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you did, then be sure to give the video a like, subscribe for more Man City content, and let me know what your score predictions are for this weekend's game and everything that's going on as well. And I will see you soon with another video. Peace!